Hey everybody. This video, I'm going to talk to you about Hamlet Act 3, Scene 1. So, in this scene, Rosencrantz and Guildenstern have come back, and they are reporting to the king what they found. And if you remember from our previous discussion, they didn't find much. Hamlet is way too smart for Rosencrantz and Guildenstern, and he was not to be made a fool of. So instead, he made a fool of them, and the only thing that they really got from him was that he was excited that a bunch of traveling actors, traveling performers, were coming into town. And so they report this much. Not only that, but they also report that Hamlet is recruiting these actors to put together a play, and he very much wants the king and queen and pretty much the court to be in attendance, to which Claudius agrees. So the queen leaves, Rosencrantz and Guildenstern leave, and Polonius, Ophelia, and Claudius are left to put together their scheme. Now, if you remember from our last discussion in Act 2, their scheme was to basically have Ophelia accidentally bump into Hamlet in the hallway and try to discern for herself why it is that he has gone crazy. They figure if he'll talk to anybody, it might be Ophelia. So that's their plan, and they're going to be hiding around the corner, basically hiding behind a corner or a tapestry or a column, if you will, waiting to hear what Hamlet says. So, sure enough, she goes and she's walking down the hall reading a book. In reality, she's just walking down the hall hoping to bump into Hamlet. And sure enough, he's kind of lost in his own thoughts, and they bump into each other. When I say he's lost in his own thoughts, this is the famous to be or not to be speech. This is probably, depending on who you ask, the most famous speech in all of literature. This is Hamlet's famous to be or not to be. That is the question. Scholars have debated what exactly this speech means for a long time, and essentially, from what I understand, it comes down to two schools of thought. There is the idea that he is kind of dwelling on suicide once again, just kind of, he's mad at himself from the last act about dragging his feet for so long, and he's mad that that he doesn't seem to be displaying the proper emotion for the situation, that he feels like he should be even more in grief about his father's death than he is, as if he's not doing enough already. And so that was in the last act when he was talking about the actors and talking about what a wretch he is. And so he's feeling kind of suicidal again. Just the fact that he hasn't gotten his revenge. His father's still dead. Claudius is still roaming around free. And Hamlet is almost paralyzed with inaction. And so it's just, he feels terrible about this. The other school of thought is that he's not just reflecting on himself, but also the deceitfulness of basically everybody else in court. I mean, think about this. How many other characters in this play are actually deceitful? How many of these characters are lying to themselves or to each other? Pretty much everybody. I mean, think about it. If you take a look at any of these characters, they're scheming against each other, they're spying on each other. Nobody's really being true to themselves. And Hamlet's like, this is the world we live in? Are you kidding me? What a pathetic, stale, flat, and unprofitable world we live in. So, anyway, she interrupts his thoughts, they bump into each other, and she immediately kind of seems very sus, if you will. And Hamlet is not buying it. He's like, what's going on here? And she says, I have basically your gifts that you gave me. I want to give them back to you. I don't need them anymore. We're broken up. Here's your shoebox of stuff. Take it back. And he's like, I smell a rat. So he flat up tells her, I didn't give you that stuff. I don't love you. Piss off. And this really shocks her. And she's like broken up about this. Like, what? You never loved me? And he's like, no, no. And this drives a huge wedge between the two of them, where he thinks she's being deceitful, trying to manipulate him, just like Rosencrantz and Guildenstern were, just like Polonius was, and in reality, she is. Now, the question you have to ask yourself is she doing that because she's deceitful, or is she doing that because she's just being obedient to her father? You tell me. So either way, he feels betrayed by her. She feels betrayed by him because he just flat out told her right now, I never loved you. So all of those gifts, all of those love letters, everything your father said about me, basically saying whatever I can to get with you, you just validated everything her father just said. So they're feeling betrayed by each other. He storms off. She's beside herself in grief. Claudius and Polonius are listening to the whole thing around the corner, and they console her. And Claudius is like, okay, something's going on with Hamlet. I don't trust this. Something's not right here. I'm going to send Hamlet to England to get him out of here. In truth, Claudius wants Hamlet out of his sight because he's afraid Hamlet might hurt him or discover the truth. But then he says verbally that he wants Hamlet out of his hair, out to England to basically clear his head. He tells everybody he's sending him out of Denmark because he wants to get him out of this environment where his father is, he's constantly reminded of his father and whatnot. So he claims that he's doing it for Hamlet's health. In reality, he just wants to save his own hide. But Polonius says, well, okay, you can send him to England, but first I got one more strategy. If he won't talk to Ophelia, maybe he'll talk to his mother. So let's have him meet his mother after the play that he wants us to watch, and he'll have a conversation with her, and I'll be hiding in the bedroom while they talk, and we'll get to the bottom of this once and for all. And so Claudius agrees, and that's pretty much the end of scene 1.